Hey y'all, this is a little unconventional, but this is my tablet here, and it's just leaned up on a glue bottle. And we are going to do this Pocket Octo pattern by KP Crochet Creations. This is what her pen looks like on Pinterest, and that is where I found this pattern. You can look up Pocket Octo Crochet, and there we are with that. And now I'm going to show you some of the ones that I've made in preparation for the class that we're having. This is with just regular yarn, and this is with super soft yarn. So this one's super squishy. I didn't stuff it as much. And then this one is regular 4-ply yarn, and it's a little bit firmer, and we still use the little eyes. And then this one is that chenille yarn that's a little bit chunkier, and I use the small needles, so he's really tough. He's really firm. So there's our little pocket octos that we're going to be making, and I hope you'll join us for this fun adventure of making a pocket octo. Now our directions here, if you would like to just use this video instead of looking up that pattern, you are able to do that by just screenshotting this right here. This goes down to the safety eyes. I'm going to bring it back out. I don't want to show our local group's name on this video, so I'm just going to keep it down below. And here's the rest of it. And you can just screenshot these and go ahead and do it that way if you'd like. So there you are, and let's get started. I'm going to walk you through the steps of this pattern. Okay, so besides the pattern, you will need your crochet hook, and today I'm using a 4.5. You'll need a pair of scissors and some yarn needles. Now these are how they come, I think, from Walmart, so you can get these just about anywhere, but I've already got these two that are open. And we're also going to need a stitch marker and a pen. This is just a little marker, so just a pencil, a pen, a marker, crayon, anything you have to mark with, and you're going to need something to write on, obviously. So, and then we will need some eyes. Now I have this variety pack of eyes. I will link these down in the description. I'm using the largest ones for this little guy. I think, no, for this one I used a little bit smaller. They're not the largest. But for the chenille, I did use the largest size. So it just depends on what size your yarn is and what size the holes are that you're putting the eyes through, just to make sure that they stay in. So this is a 4-ply yarn, and we are going to get started. And besides that, you will need a little bit of stuffing. Now this is some batting that I got. It was scraps from some project, and it is not actual polyfill, but you can rip this and just use it just like you would polyfill. I just wanted to show you all that, because if you already sew, or if you find some batting at a yard sale or somewhere, you can use this instead of the polyfill, because it is exactly the same thing. So now we're going to get started. Okay, now the first step in this pattern is to chain 2. Now what we're going to do is we are going to make our slip knot by tying around these fingers and just grabbing your yarn through that little hole, and you have a slip knot. Now I do show this in the very basic beginner video, a little bit slower and a little more detailed. And right now we're going to go ahead and chain 2. All of the previous instructions that you need for this pattern are in the first videos that we have. So if you have any questions about chaining and single crochet, we have that in our first 3 videos, I believe, and we go over that pretty thoroughly and in several different ways. I try to explain it in as many ways as I can think of to make it easy for every person to learn. Okay, after you get your first 2 chains, you'll have 2 chains right there on your hook. Then you're going to go into this first one. And once again, I've got my finger behind it. I'm holding my yarn over this direction and my yarn is on my hook. You're going to go in that first chain that you made. And then you're going to grab your yarn and pull it through. And you're going to do your single crochet in that first chain. Now that's 1. You need 8. Okay? So you're just going to keep doing them in that same hole. 2. 3, just ignore this tail, okay, and keep going in that same hole. You'll have to move it around and look at it a little bit. So we want number 4 and number 5. Now if you think you've missed something and you lose count, you can go back here. Let me just get this little needle, and you've got 1 stitch here, another stitch here. You can count your stitches. 3rd stitch here, 4th stitch here, and your 5th stitch here. So you can see where these 2 lines are that looks like a little V. Let's get it a little closer. See if it can come into focus there. See this little V shape right there? That is your stitches. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of those. So we need 3 more in the same hole. So we're going to go ahead with 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to use our stitch marker. So what you're going to do is you're going to stick it right in there with your hook. Okay? So that is in there, and it's a little bit tricky to work with, but that's okay. Now you're going to go in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this is the first stitch right here that you see, because right here, this stitch is where your yarn is coming out. This stitch is where you need to go. You're going to go in both of these stitches here, both of those pieces of yarn, that full stitch. Grab your yarn, and you're going to do 2 double crochets because you're increasing. So you want to do 2 double crochets in every stitch all the way around. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do this. You're going to go in every single stitch all the way around. If you have any questions, you can put them in the comments below. If I need to go slower and describe something, I will happily do that. Even to people who are not coming to our local class, I will make sure to put a video out showing you exactly what you're having a question about. Okay? So if you have a question, just pop it in the comments. If you're in class and you need some extra help with this, we will do it. We have 2 classes left as the time that this is being recorded. Okay, so you're going to do 2 single crochets in every stitch all the way around, and you should have 16. See, that little guy likes to get in my way. You just kind of have to put him over where he belongs. Now, we have 16. You can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 is right where you're coming out of. So you want to take this stitch marker out, and you're going to work in the next round. So on your paper that you have, the SC is single crochet, the CH is chain, the INC is increase, and the RND is round. Those are down at the bottom. Okay, I figured I'd just go over that real quick. Right now you're working on round 3. Now round 3 says, this is not cooperating with me. Let's let him get on the underside. There it is. Round 3 says single crochet, so you're going to do 1 single crochet, and then it says increase, so that's 2 single crochets. So you want 2 single crochets in this one. Okay, then you want 1 single crochet. You're going to repeat that all the way around, and then 2 single crochets. 1, 2. 1 single crochet and 2 single crochets. One single and 2 singles in this one. 1 single and 2 singles. One single and 2 singles. 1 single and 2 singles. 1 single and 2 singles. Okay, now your circle is getting bigger, and because you're increasing, it's going to stay flat. So you should have 24. We're going to count backwards this time. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24 is right where your stitch marker is. So let's take that out, and we're going to stick it right here on our hook. And this time I'm going to stick it in the back. That way I won't fight with it so much. I want to pull some yarn out for the next row. We're on round 4. Now round 4 through 8 is single crochet around. So you're not going to do any more increases for the next 5 rounds. Okay? So this is where your pen comes in handy. You want to get your pen ready, and I always do the little hashtag, not hashtags, but hash marks. Okay, so we're going to finish our row, or start our row, and when we finish, we're going to put a hash mark on the paper, and that will mark your spot. 1, 2, 3, and you don't have to count these out loud. I'm doing that for y'all's sake. When you're beginning, sometimes you need to double check every single row, or when you're following an intricate pattern, you need to make sure your rows have the right number. So we're going to just do this and keep going all the way around until you get to the stitch marker. And you see when you count and do it exactly, it goes right directly to the stitch marker. And if you put the right systems in place for your getting this down, which is first learning the basics, second practicing it and getting the muscle memory, then you are going to be able to do it. Now I got to the end. I'm going to take the stitch marker out and put it on my hook, on the yarn, not on the hook. And then I'm going to hash mark my first row. So I've got 1 row. Okay, we're going to do that for 5 times. That's row 4. And then we need 5, 6, 7, and 8. So we're going to keep going around. And for this video, because it's the class, and this is a beginner lesson, I'm just going to go ahead and let you keep watching this here, and if you would like to fast forward, you can, to get to the part where we're done with these 4 rows, these 5 rows. But I'm going to go ahead and keep this recording in real time, okay? That way y'all can have a legitimate, a realistic time frame of how long it takes to make this. And I could crochet a little faster, but it's not necessary. Fast is not the goal here, it's relaxation. So you go whatever pace you need to and pause the video anytime that you need to catch up if I'm going too fast. I want you to enjoy your new hobby and love it. There's so many things you can do with it. So we're going to move that stitch marker, and then we're going to mark our paper. And then we're going to go again. Now I'm not sure if you can find the eyes, the safety eyes at Walmart. Maybe you could find them at Hobby Lobby. I'm not 100% sure on that. You can get scissors and yarn needles and crochet hooks and yarn just about anywhere. But the safety eyes I did get on Amazon. And so you would have to order those unless you could find them somewhere. And these little stitch markers, they do have them at Hobby Lobby, and Michael's should also have them. Okay, there's another row done. Whoops. Okay, so my hook went through the stitch marker. I'm just going to go ahead and do that and show you how easy it is. If you grab it, it just comes right out. Go right in there, pop it back in there, and that's 3 rows down. We have 2 more to go. And we're just going to keep doing singles all the way around. You can see how it's turning out here. There's a little bowl forming. This is the inside. Once you're done, I'll show you the next step after we get a little bit further. But this is the pretty outside when you turn it around. These are so cute when you get done. And you can tighten down your yarn, make your stitches tighter. You want them to be similar in size so they don't have openings and pulls, but remember that you are just learning. And if you are just learning to do this, your stitches are going to be a little different in tension and size and everything. You're going to have to just do it with practice and learn and keep going. They're going to be a little wonky and uneven at first, but that is absolutely okay. Because the only way you can never learn is if you stop practicing. As long as you keep trying and you want to do this, you'll get the hang of it. Just slow down as much as you need to do it. Because sometimes it's just about slowing down to get the basics down. Whoops. See what I did there? I got that yarn in there. I hooked the yarn instead of in the yarn. There. I don't want it to separate the yarn. And then we have to mark that. There's 4. So that's 4, 5, 6, 7. We need 1 more. 1 more row. And if you have hung in with me this long and you are not in our local group, pop a comment down below and say Octo. I'd love to know how many new students we have in this little series on YouTube. Because if there's enough interest in this, I may keep these videos coming that are a little more detailed and tutorials, not just a quick tutorial. Longer detailed. So if you would put tutorial or more, put the word more, that's even better. And that way I'll know that more people are interested in more lessons. And if you want a specific, thing to learn to make, put the name of it in there. I'm not afraid to try something, even if I haven't made it before. Now, there's our 5. We are ready for our safety eyes. Okay. Here we are with our safety eyes. And if you get this big pack, you get a few instructions inside. Just be very careful opening. You don't want this to spill. So I think we're going to use, that one's too small, that one right here. So we want 2 of these eyes and 2 of these little safety things that go on the back. Now, I used to be really afraid of doing safety eyes. They made me nervous for the longest time, but they don't anymore. Now, if you remember, this is the inside, so it's time to flip your little pet around and look how pretty that is. Now, you're just going to tuck that tail in there. Actually, no. Let's tie that tail in, because you see that hole? You can get rid of that hole. Whoops, I don't need 2 needles. I'm going to thread your needle. Excuse me. And you're just going to go right around this little circle with your yarn needle, and you're going to twist it so it'll come through easily. If you hear the sneezing, it is our little dog. Her mom is in the other room, and she's getting antsy because she wants to go see her. There, see, now our hole is completely closed, and you can take your yarn and just kind of weave it down. Okay, and then we're going to cut that off. Okay, now you can leave that in there if you want, but it will just hide when you get in there. Now your eyes are going to go between rows 6 and 7. Okay, so between rows 6 and 7, this is your first row, and this is your second row, and 3, 4, 5. So they're going to go right here on this row. Okay, so you're going to have 2 rows underneath them. And what you want to do is just go ahead and stick one in, and in that same row, stick the other one in. And you have 2 little eyes. Isn't it so cute? And now you have them in the right place, so we're going to turn it around. And these things, you want it to face the concave part. Let's get a little closer in here. A lot closer in. This is shaped like that. Okay, and you're going to put it scooping down towards, like a cup, towards the sewing, the stitches, and you just press it on there. Okay, you don't want it to stick up, you don't want it to face up, you want it to go down. And we're going to press this one on here, and that's it for the eyes. That's how easy they are. Okay, And when you turn it over, you have some super cute little eyes. Oh my goodness. Okay, hang on. I'm going to go let this dog out. Okay, now back to our pattern, because we just put the eyes in. And if you need a break, that would be a good time to do it, because you are at a separation here in your pattern where you've just done these rows. And you put the eyes in, and now you're ready for row 9. Okay? So, on row 9, this is going to be the fun row. Oh, what happened? I didn't move the stitch marker. So I guess I need to finish this row out again. And it's just this one stitch. I did not move the stitch marker, and I was about to pull out a whole row. Okie dokie, here we are. That would have not been fun. Okay, now I'm going to turn this guy back around. Okay, we're going to go right here. You need to work with it backwards like this. Get that out of the way again, because you're working in the back loop only. Now this is different than what you've done. And you're going to single crochet 2 together. Now basically that just means you're going to skip 1 stitch. But back loop only is something new. And all it means is when we were going around, we were hitting both of these loops. Okay? Now we're only going to hit the back loop, the one that's further away from you. But at the same time, you're going to skip 1. And you're going to single crochet in that back loop only. Okay? You're going to single crochet and make sure everything is tight. And you're going to do your single crochet. Now we're going to do it again. And it's single crochet 2 together. We're going to skip 1 and go in that back loop only. You only want 1 loop on the hook when you go through that stitch. And you do your single crochet and kind of pull it tight. You're going to skip 1, back loop only, single crochet. You're going to skip 1, do the back loop only, single crochet, skip 1, back loop only, single crochet, skip 1, back loop only, single, skip 1, go in the back loop only, single crochet, same thing, skip, back loop only, single crochet, and we're about halfway around. Skip 1, back loop only, single crochet, skip 1, back loop only, single crochet, skip 1, back loop only, single crochet. Now those eyes look weird. Anyway, one more. Skip 1, back loop only, single crochet. Gotta make sure you get all that yarn. It just looked funny with him staring up at me like that. Okay, that is round 9. We're going to go ahead and take our stitch marker out. This is the next thing, and we're going to turn right side out and stuff the body. You will need a little polyfill for this. You can get an old pillow and use that, or you can get a new bag of polyfill and use that. I'm using some batting that I had. You can use some flannel fabric or some cotton fabric. You can and cut it in strips. You can use some, some felt. I'm just going to stuff our little guy. Let's get a little more in there. you can use old yarn pieces as well. So basically you can use anything that is washable and dryable, because if you ever want to wash this thing, you don't want to be like, well, I can't wash it because water will get stuck in that forever. Okay, so there we are. And now, this is round 10. He's pretty good stuffed. It's not too hard. It's pretty soft. Let's get a little more in there. I like this really hard one. Let's see what we can get in there. I bet we can get this whole other piece in there. There we go. And if you're in my class, you'll get to see this little guy soon. This week. Okay. He is stuffed, and I think he's stuffed pretty good. And there's his little eyes. Now, we're going to do row 10, which is going to be the same thing except both loops. So you're going to skip a stitch, go in the next one. And sometimes you'll pick up some of that filling, but that's okay. You're going to do a single crochet. Now these are when they get a little bit harder because it's tight. You're going to skip one, go into the next one, and you're going to single crochet that together and make sure you pull it tight so it can pull in. Then you're going to skip one. It's really, you can see where your yarn is coming out, and skip this next one and go into the next one. Get both loops when you go in and do that single crochet and pull it tight. Skip one and go into the next one. Get that single crochet, and there we go. Skip one, go into that next one. This is where it's tricky, and you just have to kind of work with it as you go around. Kind of looks like a little spider web. If you use the larger yarn, the chenille, or t-shirt yarn or whatever, you won't have the bottom holes showing like this guy does. See that? You won't have those holes in the bottom like these do. So it just depends on what you're going for. When you're learning, it's okay. He's still a super cute little octopus. So if you want to do that, change that later, you can. Now we are going to finish this out by cutting it off. I know you can hear my dogs, I'm sure. I cut the yarn and cut a pretty good tail. And I'm just going to pull that through and pull it out. I have one that barks at the birds. I think that's what's going on. Now right now we're just going to close this up by going through these holes like that. You can go in the outside, and then you go in that outside stitch, and you can go in that outside stitch, and just say the last one. And this is when you pull it, you have a little circle right there in the middle. Now a trick that I do with these small ones, whoops, is to not lose the yarn off your needle, is once you've tied your yarn in a little bit, I just go straight up. Normally I do. I think it's the batting that's preventing it. Straight up and out the side. There we go. And that yarn is not going to go anywhere. And you can cut it directly off. And you have an octopus minus his legs. Now, the next step is for his tentacles. This is the easy part. Alright, this is the easy part. you're going to go in, you know those loops that you went in, the back loop only? You can see those loops all along the circle. All the way around you can see those loops. So you're going to attach the yarn with a slip knot to any of the front loops in from round 8. So you're going to get right in here, okay, and you're going to pull your yarn right through there. That's it. That's how you attach it. Now you want to leave a pretty good tail because you've got to tie that in after. And you are going to do, you're going to do 1 chain. That's not in the directions. Then you're going to do 5 singles. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Once again, if you have any questions, just put it in the comments and I will get to those questions. Now you're going to do that in every other stitch. So you're going to skip 1 and you're going to do 5 here. 5 single crochets. Just right in a row. Try not to hit his eyes. It's not working. 4 and 5. You're going to skip 1, go in the next one, and do 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And you can see those loops pretty clear here. They kind of stand out. So skip 1. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to skip 2 because I think there's more. So you're going to skip 1 to be 1, 2, 3, 4. There's plenty of room there. There's more than needed. So I would skip 2 on a couple of them. Because for some reason, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's more than 16 stitches. And so that's 4. And you need 4 more legs. So we're going to do 5 single crochets in this one loop. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and there's 5. And you're going to skip 1 and go in the next one. And go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See, that's how he looks on the top. He's getting cute. 5, 6. We need 2 more. So we're going to skip this one and go into here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And the last one, we're going to make sure it comes right up here in between these last 2. And go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now that is an alteration from the original pattern because I think it said half doubles and I changed it to single crochet for my group that are just beginning to learn the single crochet. That way will be the same stitch all the way for this project. And unlike most beginner classes, we learned something, oh, I'm not explaining it. Learn something besides the washcloth. That was my main goal, to do something besides the washcloth. What you're going to do to tie this off is you're going to go into this stitch right here where the first leg is, and you're going to pull your yarn through both. That's basically the slip stitch together. Okay, then you're going to cut your yarn off, and you're going to pull it through right here. And that is my little puppy growling at me because she wants back in now. And then you just tie these in just like we did the others. And I'll save you that time for the video. There he is. Now this concludes our video. I hope you've enjoyed this project and had fun making your cute little pocket octo. Happy crocheting! Thanks for crocheting along with us. See you next time.